Hey y'all, it's Shekinah with Spoken Like a True Goddess podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope everyone is doing well. Today, we're going to be getting into part two of our Single Mom Soft Life series, which is money. So, we're going to talk about ways to build a solid foundation financially for you and your children, how to earn more money, how to grow your money, and overall live a soft and balanced life while raising your children. Before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been tuning in and for the feedback that I've been getting on the first part of the series. It's not easy being vulnerable, as you all know, but I'm just glad that it was received well. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And if you think any other women can benefit from this type of content, from content about just striving to be your best self, then please share. Also, when you're done listening to this episode, if you could write a review, leave 5 stars, or comment, that'll be great. It'll really help the algorithm and get my podcast out there. So thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to start by saying, just so I don't have to sugarcoat throughout the episode, but I'm going to speak very honestly, very directly, and very open. Okay. And as you all know or will get to know about me, I don't bash men. I do not think men are my enemy. I don't hate men or anything of that nature, but I am going to speak candidly like I speak to my girlfriends, okay? So we'll just get into it. I just want to start by saying that so I don't feel like I have to hold back or be politically correct, okay? All right. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Sis, put that man on child support. Put him on child support. And I know that this is a controversial topic. I know it's a touchy topic, but honestly, if you want to live a soft life with your children, you need to have your paperwork in order. Okay? Nothing in life that's of importance is done without paperwork. Nothing without contracts. If you're going to buy a car, if you're going to buy a house, anything you're doing that involves another person, you have paperwork and you have agreements in order. Okay, this is my responsibility. This is your responsibility. This is how we're going to go about it. Everything. So when it comes to something as important as raising your children, you need to do the same thing. You need to be just as organized as you would with any other important thing in your life. I know that going about this can be difficult because I know some men feel attacked when child support comes up and things like that. But honestly, things need to be in place, especially when we're thinking long term. 18 years is a long time. Okay. You need to have things in order. Besides money, there's health insurance, there's life insurance, there's custody. You need to have your custody in order. And those things get really deep and can get difficult as life goes on. Let's say, okay, the dad is going to start dating again and you're going to start dating again. When new people are introduced into the situation, you don't want that to be the time of, oh, okay, well, what about this? What about this? What if dad has to move away out of the state or out of the country? Is he going to take your kids with him? Is there anything in order that prohibits something like that from happening? And what if when he does start dating and having more children and things of that nature, are you and your kids going to be protected? And I'm not saying this to demonize the men, but they're humans and this is life. And we all know that courting women or getting into a relationship with women is expensive, and that's where his time and his energy is going to go. So you just want to make sure you're protected and covered in that situation. So when it comes up, there's no hiccups in your personal life. And even for you, when you're dating and you're going into a relationship, it is much more comfortable to be able to present your life in a way that's put together when a man is trying to bring you into his world. So if you're coming into his world and all your paperwork is in order, you don't have any baby daddy drama and this, and the other, it's a much better experience. So get things in order. And I mean, especially if you have children with men who weren't born in the United States, you don't want those problems when it comes to custody and things of that nature. Just get everything in writing so you don't have problems further down the line. Okay, so that is number one. Set that foundation. What's dad's responsibilities? What's your responsibilities? Who's taking care of health insurance? Who's taking care of life insurance? Where are the kids going to go in the summer? Have everything in order just so there's no issues down the line. Also, when you're planning your life, and let's say you're trying to get approved for an apartment or a loan for a home, to purchase a home, they're not going to accept, oh yeah, my child's father gives me this amount of money on this day in cash, or he cash at me some days on the 5th, sometimes on the 18th. So that's not a verifiable source of income. So having child support or spousal support in writing makes your life easier, because when you're going to get approved for these things, you can show income. You could prove your income. So you just want to really get those things in order and just draw those clear lines early on. And emotions may be high, it may be hard at first, but the healing can start after that. Even if you're getting some resistance from the child's father at first about getting the paperwork in order, just stick to it and get it done. Once it's done, it's done. And even if the child's father isn't adhering to the terms, or he decides not to pay or not to adhere to custody agreements, or whichever the case is, think about it long term. If you get that paperwork in order, even if he doesn't pay, one day he's going to have to, right? There's a record of it. One day it can be enforced. And how great would that be that when your child's 18 or whichever, they could get a large lump sum of what they're owed or deserved anyways. So you just want to think of these things on a long-term basis and not so much what's easier and comfortable right now. Because at the end of the day, we have to take care of our children. And if something's in writing, even if dad isn't consistent, or even if he just outright decides not to contribute, there's still a record and there's still paperwork in order to hold him accountable. So even if it's not done or he's not doing it today, eventually it's going to have to be handled or taken care of. So think of it even on a long-term basis for your children. That would be a great head start for them. And when it comes to custody agreement, they're very detailed. They even go into passports. So you don't want, okay, you finally got your finances in order and now you can start traveling with your children and you can't get a passport for your kids. So it's like, just get all that stuff done as soon as possible so your motherhood journey can be enjoyable. Just rip the Band-Aid off, do all the hard stuff up front, and then later on down the line, it'll be a lot more smooth sailing, instead of living a life where you're always running into hiccups because your paperwork isn't in order. I was dating a guy and his co-parenting situation was just not in order. And he's trying to introduce me into his life and into this situation. And you can't possibly expect someone to come into your life and flourish with you in your life when simple things are done. And I mean, this guy has never been married to his child's mother. And I believe the child was like 7. So you had years to get things in order. I'm not about to come into that circus. I know I be giving guys the ick, but before we get too serious, I'm going to need to see that paperwork because I'm not going to come into a dysfunctional situation. My paperwork is so in order. So my reward should be someone whose paperwork is also in order. Money and values on how to raise children are some of the biggest issues that come up in relationships and with married couples. And how I see it, if we were so on the same page about huge life topics and so compatible in that area, then we would likely be married. And since we're not, it's because we're incompatible on things that are important. So we need to get this in writing, and I feel like that's the mindset that you should take regarding that. Not so much bitter or a get back type of thing, but these are our children we're talking about, our children's future we're talking about, and it needs to be in order. At this point, it's bigger than me and you. We tried to do our thing. It didn't work. So let's just put our focus and energy into the children. Now that we got that out the way, we can focus on what we can do individually as women to provide that soft life for ourselves. The bottom line is you're going to have money to have a soft and harmonious life while raising your children. You want to plan wisely. You don't want to make moves just for the heck of it. Anything you're going out to do, you want it to make sense and you want it to really elevate yourself and elevate your family. You always want to think in abundance. An abundant mindset is saying, okay, what is a quick and legal way I can build a solid financial foundation for my family? What can I do despite my external situation, despite what's going on right now? What can I do to elevate us? Now, that's thinking in abundance. It's not letting your right now determine your future. You're still keeping hope for the future. A scarcity mindset is staying stuck in a cycle that's not really working for you all, but it's just enough to get you by for the day. And you're not having the courage to do what you have to do for your family. And you're operating in fear and in lack and, oh, what if this doesn't work out? Or if I don't do this, and I will have even less than what I have now. No, you want to forget about your current situation and always think for the future. If I'm going to do something, if I'm going to make a move, how can I make it hit the hardest? Because our children's environment, their health, their education, it's an investment. And you don't want to cut corners on those things. You don't want to substitute the quality of you all's life based off of money or the lack of money. So take some time to think about what exactly you can do to level up in the long run. What can you do today to set that solid foundation for the future? What can you do today that next year, in 5 years, in 10 years, you could say, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I'm glad I had the courage to do that because look at us now. And what I would suggest is learn a high earning skill. Invest in careers that are in high demand, careers that offer flexibility, stability, growth, things that in the long term will really pay off for you all. The careers I will focus on would be healthcare, education, tech, and childcare services. Now, with healthcare, what I love about healthcare is, for one, hospitals are open 24 hours. So you have the flexibility with scheduling. Also, there's so many careers within healthcare. In some of these careers, you could take a 2-year program, an 18-month program, and make pretty decent money just starting off from it. Now, what I love about education is, if you're a teacher or you're working in a school, you're done with the day around 3 when your children are done with the day. You have weekends off, you have holidays off, you have the summer off. So your schedule is really in alignment with your children. So that's a huge perk. And with tech, there are a lot of remote opportunities. So that also gives you that flexibility. And with tech, there's a lot of room for growth. You can always invest in your career by getting different certifications and expand your career that way. Childcare, babysitting services. We all know that childcare is expensive and people are always looking for quality childcare. You can involve your children with that. You can offer babysitting or childcare services even locally. And while you're watching other people's children, you can take care of your children. And you can grow on that and eventually have something at a larger scale. Those are the areas that I will focus on and put my attention in if I was looking to create financial stability for my family. I know a lot of times we equate entrepreneurship to financial stability. In my personal opinion, I believe it's more important to create that security before entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship can be very unstable, very up and down before it's good. And it can take years before it's actually stable. That entrepreneur lifestyle that we sometimes glamorize usually isn't that, especially starting off. As mothers, we're already limited on our time and our energy. A better investment of your time and your energy would be a more stable career, and then roll into those ways of expanding and creating more income for yourself. I'm going to get into that because I don't want to say that entrepreneurship or working for yourself or owning something is bad. I do not believe it's bad, but I believe there's a better route to go about it that would allow you more ease in your life. Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, again, one of my favorite books, he has a income module. Basically, that's the best way to explain it. And it's broken into 4 parts. On the left side, it's active income. So an example of active income is basically you working for your money. So this will be an employee and even being self-employed. And that's why I said you want to be careful when you're thinking about entrepreneurship, because if you're on the left side of this chart, most times you'll get more perks from being employed than self-employed. When you're employed, you have a stable check coming in, you have benefits, PTO, health insurance, things of that nature. If you're solely dependent on self-employment, everything falls on you. Your business is not running unless you're there. And that's the thing with self-employment. With a job, if your kid gets sick, God forbid, you have sick time or PTO to go and get your kid from school, or to stay home with them for a few days. Or if they have a field trip, you could chaperone the field trip because you'll have the time off to do that in most cases, if you pick a career with flexibility. But if you're solely depending on just self-employment, that can get tricky because your business cannot run without you there. So on the left side is the active income. So that's being employed or self-employed. On the right is passive income. Now, with passive income, that's having a big business, meaning a business that have employees that are running the business for you. So regardless if you're there or not there, the business is still running. Also on that side, we have investor. They are also people who have their money working for them. So while they're off living their life, doing what they want to do, for us taking care of our kids or just taking some time for ourselves, we're still making money. And that's why, in my opinion, I think the best way to create financial stability as a single mom would be create that foundation of security through a job. If you're going to actively work for your money, do it through a job that offers stability, flexibility, and growth. And while you're at that job, begin to invest. Options for investment would be trade stock options, invest in the stock market, invest in real estate. Those are really good examples and things you can do as far as investment. An option for having a business that you own but is running without you having to be there is Amazon FBA. You can own your business, create a product, buy your product, inspect your product, send it to Amazon for them to ship and them to deal with customer service issues, and you collect the profit on it. You want to just think of ways that you can, one, create stability for yourself so that your monthly and your daily things are in order. And then from there, create a plan to grow your money, and having an emergency savings fund and having savings for your children's college and things of that nature. But it goes in steps. You don't want to get out of order and like, okay, I need some money, so let me just go and start a business. Depends on your personality. Some people are natural born entrepreneurs and they have like that grit and that hustle in them. So take this advice with a grain of salt. Like, you know yourself best, but there are other ways other than entrepreneurship. Not everyone is an entrepreneur, and there are other ways to create a very stable, easy life for yourself that does not include entrepreneurship. You want to track your expenses and your income and savings and really see in front of you where your money's going. I know I recently did that and I was absolutely floored by the amount of money I spent on takeout. Like, just absolutely astonished. So it's good to actually see where your money's going and just make wise decisions with your money. When you get lump sums of money, make wise choices. Don't just go and, oh, okay, oh, we need this, this, and this. So let me just go and do this. Put that money places that will help you a little further down the line. For example, when I was going back to school and when tax time would come around, I would pay my rent up for a few months. The overall thought process is, how can I make my life easier? So when you get money, just put it places to make your life easier. If you pay your rent up for a couple months, the money you would usually use in that month, you have more money to do something else with. Always be thinking of ways to make your life simpler and easier. And once you get your paperwork in order, create that solid financial situation for yourself, you're becoming a lot more responsible with your money and money that's coming in. You're working on your money mindset, still thinking of abundance and for the future. You don't want to neglect pursuing your own dreams and passions and things like that. Just because we're moms and just because we have a lot of responsibilities, we're still women. We still have desires. We still have wants. We still have needs. So you also want to create this space and the time to pursue things that make you happy. What are some things that you wanted to do before you had children? How can you incorporate that into your life now? What are some passion projects you have? Do you want to further your education just for yourself and for your own fulfillment? Because you deserve fulfillment. Our kids seeing us thriving and striving for our dreams, that will instill that in them. I remember when I was just becoming a single mom, I was talking to one of my guy friends, and personally, I have very traditional values. Like, I believe in gender roles and a lot of traditional things. So when I was seeing, okay, I'm about to be a single mom, I was telling my friend I was having a hard time accepting that my son is going to have to see me in that light of, oh, yeah, my mom's a hard worker. I do not want to raise one of those scary men who's like, my mom worked hard, so you got to work hard. Like that, I don't want to, that would break my heart. So that was something that was like on my mind, like, oh my God, he's going to be, one of those scary men. And my friend was like, you're thinking about it wrong. He's not going to think, oh, my mom did this, so this is how women should act. He's going to see, this is all I know. All I know is when you work hard, you get good results. So don't think of it in the sense of how he's going to use that to relate to other women. Think of it as what you're instilling in him. You're instilling in him, hey, if you focus, if you work hard, then you'll get good results. And that helped me because, yeah, it doesn't always have to be negative. Like, I don't have to turn this into a negative situation. No, I could still raise a traditional man and him seeing me being able to step up and create beautiful situations for us will just inspire him to do the same thing. I know that finances and motherhood could be very hard sometimes. It could be very difficult to merge the two. I know that many other women who have been in this situation know that. But if you stay positive, if you have a plan, get your paperwork in order, think of ways personally you can upgrade your life, it is possible. It's possible to live a relaxed life, to have everything you need and more. It is possible. I'm not sure where you are in your single mom journey, but I just encourage you to keep faith and stay the course. Pursue things that are interesting to you. Don't let this one situation throw your life off course. When you were a small girl, how did you envision your life? Hold on to that and go back to the drawing board and see, okay, from this situation now, how can I make those things come true? How can I make those things possible? You don't want to give up on yourself. We all have just this one life to live. You don't want to let it go to waste because it's possible to have it all. It's possible to be the mom you want to be, to have the money you want to have the career you want to have, to pursue the passions you want to have. It's all possible. So just put your mind, your focus, or your energy on that and take it a step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with ambitions and all these things. Just have grace and just take it a step at a time. If each day or each month or each year your life looks a little bit better, that's great. Our next part of the series is men. And I put this part at the end because I hope that for you, you do want to marry or remarry. I hope that you still believe in love, you still believe in families. But I believe that if you first create a healthy mindset for yourself, heal from disappointments, get your money in order, then you can date and find a suitable partner with a lot more ease. You won't get into situations where you're falling into hands of abusive men because you're doing things out of order. Because, okay, my finances are messed up, so let me go and be with this man to make my life a little easier. I'm a Disney girl myself. I believe in Disney love and all those things, but in the real world, sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. And some men, not all, some men are predators. So if you have your things in order, if you have a healthy mindset, if you have your money in order, you can go into these situations and vet these men in a much healthier way, in a way that you're not needing so much that you're overlooking things or moving so fast that you're not paying attention to certain things. And you bring your children into preventable situations. We'll get more into the men and how to properly date, how to properly vet, and things like that next week. I hope that this was helpful to you. Please like, share, review, and we'll talk next time. Bye. That's all for today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed. If you love Spoken Like a True Goddess podcast, leave a rating and a review on the podcast app that you're tuning in on. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to follow us on all socials at Spoken Like a True Goddess. Also, if you would like sisterly advice from me, email your questions to sltgadvice@gmail.com. It will be answered on the pod with love and discretion, of course. Well, I'm excited for our next Girl Talk. Talk soon. Bye.